Hello students, welcome to science class. How are you all? I hope you all are fine. So, welcome to science class. And as you know, in previous videos I have explained chapter 1, nutrition in plants. And in last video I made you underline notes, definition or some important points of this chapter, and I show you how you have to write these notes in your CW. So I hope you all have written these notes in your CW. Now one step ahead, in this video I will explain textual exercises. But after this video I will send you PDF of textual exercise of this lesson. From this PDF you will write question answers in your CW. It means that textual exercise in your CW. And in this video I am explaining textual exercise. But before that, let's see what you have learned in this lesson. So first is, all organisms need food and utilize it to get energy for growth and maintenance of their body. Next point is, green plants synthesize food for themselves by the process of photosynthesis, and they are autotrophs. Why they are autotrophs? Because they make their food by themselves. Next point is, plants like Cuscuta are parasite. They take food from the host plant. Next point is, plants use simple chemical substances like carbon dioxide, water and minerals for the synthesis of food. Next point is, chlorophyll, water, carbon dioxide and sunlight are the essential requirement for photosynthesis. Next point, complex chemical substances such as carbohydrates are the products of photosynthesis. Next, solar energy is absorbed by the chlorophylls present in leaves of plants. Oxygen is produced during photosynthesis. Oxygen released in photosynthesis is utilized by living organisms for their survival. Many fungi derive nutrition from dead and decaying matter. They are saprotrophs. A few plants and all animals are dependent on others for their nutrition and are called heterotrophs. So students, now textbook exercise, but again I am telling you, don't write question answers or textbook exercise from this video. After this video I will send you PDF. From this PDF you can write textual exercise in your CW. So let's start with question number 1. Why do organisms need to take food? So as I explain you, why do organisms need to take food? Organisms, living organisms, because you know that living organisms has to do many things. It means for many purposes that food is needed by all organisms. First of all, living organisms need to grow. Now they get energy also from the food, because they has to do many things. So for just a simple movement also they need food. Without food, you know that no one can live. It means you don't have energy to even sit also if you are not eating food. So during the day you do that many activity like walking, running, sitting, writing, sleeping. For this all movement, for this all work, you need energy, and you get energy from the food only. Now sometime some our damaged cell, if we fall down and if we hurt somewhere, if wound is there, so for replenishment of the new cell also, or repairing our damaged parts of the body also, we need food, we need some nutrients, some energy. Now and from disease also, for to fight against disease also, we and some infection also, we need food, we need energy. So why do organisms need to take food? Because food is needed by organisms for many purposes. First is, the main function of food is to help in growth, because day to day your height increases. Second, food provides energy for movements such as running, walking, or raising your arms. Many things you can write instead of running, walking, raising your arms. Running, walking, raising your arms, for jumping, for sitting, for learning, for reading, for everything you need energy. Then food is also needed for replacement and repairing damaged part of body. Then food gives us resistance to fight against disease and protect us from infections. So here 4 points are given. Food is needed by all organisms for many purposes. The main function of food is to help in growth. Second, food provides energy for movement such as running, walking, or raising our arm. Third, food is also needed for replacement and repairing damaged part of body. Fourth, food gives us resistance to fight against disease and protect us from infections. Now second question is, distinguish between a parasite and saprotrop. Parasite and saprotrop. So before distinguish between parasite and saprotrops, let's remind you what is parasite and what is saprotrops. So first, parasite, it means that parasitic plant. It means that parasitic plants are plants that obtain their nutrients from other plants. It means they obtain their nutrients from other plants. The plants from which the parasitic plant obtain its nutrients is called its host. In this mode of nutrition, only the parasite is benefited. See that it means parasite, they depend for their food on other plant. It means they depend on their host. And what is the meaning of saprophytes? That also I told you, that saprophytic plants. So saprophytic plants are generally a non-green plants. It means they does not have chlorophyll. If they does not have chlorophyll, it means they cannot perform the process of photosynthesis also. So they derive their nutrition from dead and decaying organic matter. So saprotrops are non-green plants that derive their nutrition from dead and decaying organic matter. And these plants secretes digestive juices which convert dead and decaying organic matter into sugar, and this after that absorbed by the plant. So that is the difference between parasite and saprotroph. So how will you write difference between parasite and saprotroph? So first point is parasite feed on a living organism. First and major difference between parasite and saprotrophs is parasites feeds on a living organism while saprotrophs feeds on dead and decaying organisms. This is the major difference between the parasite and saprotrophs. And second is the organisms. For parasite, the organism on which it feeds is called host, and for saprotrophs they do not feed on a living organism. It means because you know that they feed on dead and decaying organisms. So instead of that you can write many other point also. For third point you can write some example also. It means that example of parasites, dodder, cascuta, that mistles, many, and you can write that examples of for example of saprotrophs also you can write fungi, mushroom, like that. This way you can write third point also. So for parasite, first point for parasite is parasites feed on a living organism, while first point of saprotrophs is they feed on dead and decaying organisms. Then second point for parasite is the organism on which it feeds is called host, and second point for saprotroph is they do not feed on a living organisms. This way you can write third point for parasite. So example dodder, cascuta, amarbel, like that. And third point for saprotroph is example fungi, mushroom. Now move to the third question. How would you taste the presence of starch in leaves? How would you taste the presence of starch in leaves? See, now first of all that you know that leaves are the food factory of the plant. So after completing the process of photosynthesis, glucose is made. It means that starch, prepared food. So how would you taste the presence of starch in leaves? So here that remember second lesson of 6th standard, component of food. So how in this lesson only there the taste of starch. For there you use that iodine solution, because that iodine solution gives blue black color with starch. So I am telling you how to taste. First, to taste the presence of starch in green leaves, you need some items. First of all, a green leaf, then taste tube, beaker, dropper, water, alcohol, Bunsen burner, and iodine solution. Now what to do to taste the presence of starch in green leaves? First, take a green leaf and put it in boiling water about 3 minutes. So in 3 minutes this leaf soften. Then second point, after that take out the leaf from water and immerse it in a test tube containing alcohol. It means take some alcohol in one test tube, and after that take out the leaf from water and immerse it in a test tube containing alcohol. Now third step is heat the test tube by placing it in a beaker containing hot water. but you have to make sure that you do not heat the alcohol directly. Why? Because it will catch fire. So heat the test tube containing alcohol till the leaf loses its green color. So what will happen, that slowly and gradually that leaf loses its green color. Again what you have to do, take out the leaf and put 2 drops of iodine solution on it using dropper. So you can see the leaf turns blue black in color. So what you have learned from this experiment? You have learned that iodine makes starch turn blue black. So the change in color shows the presence of starch in green leaves. So here your question is, how would you taste the presence of starch in leaves? Answer: the presence of starch in leaves can be tasted by iodine test. When we remove chlorophyll from leaf by boiling it in alcohol and then put 2 drops of iodine solution, its color change to blue, indicate the presence of starch. Now move to the question 4. Give a brief description of the process of synthesis of food in green plant. Now, process of synthesis of food in green plant. It means which process? Process of photosynthesis only, no? So here you have to remember that process of photosynthesis. First of all, in green plants, it means in leaves. Leaves are in green in color. Now, why leaves are green in color? Because they contain chlorophyll in it. It means that chlorophyll is present in leaves. After that, leaves take CO2. It means that carbon dioxide from the air. Then roots of the plant absorb water and minerals from the soil. Now this water and minerals reaches to the leaves. Now leaves have everything, that carbon dioxide is there, chlorophyll is there, water and minerals there. So by using these all things, leaves perform the process of photosynthesis, but in the presence of sunlight also. So in the presence of sunlight, green leaves perform the process of photosynthesis. So now after completing this process of photosynthesis, what will happen? It means that food is prepared. It means that carbohydrate means glucose, and oxygen is a byproduct. Now again that plant release oxygen from the in atmosphere. So question 4, give a brief description of the process of synthesis of food in green plants. Now here your answer is, the green plants have chlorophyll in the leaves. The leaves use CO2 means carbon dioxide and water to make food in presence of sunlight. So equation is carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll gives carbohydrate means glucose plus oxygen. Now question number 5. So with the help of a sketch that the plants are the ultimate source of food. Plants are the ultimate source of food. It means that plants are directly or indirectly all living things. depend on the green plants only. So first, green plants are autotrophs. It means they make their food by themselves. Now green plants use solar energy and make their food by themselves. Now herbivorous animal. Herbivorous animal eat plants and get energy. Now carnivorous animal. Now carnivorous animal eat herbivorous animal and get energy. Now green plants, herbivorous animal and carnivorous animal. So that removal of green plants, herbivorous animal and carnivorous animals now mix with the soil and decompose by the decomposers present in the soil and make the soil fertile. Now again with the solar energy, new green plants grow. They make their food and they grow. Again that herbivorous eat green plants, carnivorous animal eat herbivorous animal, and this type of chain going on and on. But what will happen if we delete one from this chain? If we delete one, for example, is this chain is there, if we delete green plant, what will happen to herbivorous animal? They have nothing to eat, so they also will die. What about carnivorous animal? Now if herbivorous animal not there, so nothing to eat for carnivorous animal also, so they also will die. It means that we can say that plants are the ultimate source of food. It means herbivorous animal and carnivorous animal. It means all living organism directly or indirectly depend on the plants only. Now question number 6. Now question number 6 is fill in the blanks. First, green plants are called dash since they synthesize their own food. Again, photosynthesis. So green plants make their food by themselves. They do not depend on any other. It means they perform the process of photosynthesis and make their food. So we can say that green plant synthesize their own food. So that's why green plants are called autotrophs. Green plants are called autotrophs. Why they call autotrophs? Because they synthesize their own food. It means that here maybe I explained you that autotroph means auto means self. Auto means self and trophs means nourishment. It means self-nourishment. So autotrophs, green plants are called autotrophs since they synthesize their own food. Second is the food synthesized by the plants is stored as dash. The food synthesized by the plants, it means that after completing the process of photosynthesis. Here you have to remember the equation carbon dioxide plus water. It means by using carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll gives that carbohydrate plus oxygen. It means that and one thing I told you also about that photosynthesis, products of photosynthesis, I told you that in the leaves of green plants chlorophyll traps sunlight which provides energy to convert carbon dioxide and water into glucose and oxygen. And glucose, the food prepared by plant is glucose first. Now that excess glucose is stored in the form of starch in parts of the plants, seeds, stems, roots, and even leaves of plant also. So the food synthesized by the plant is stored as starch. Now third, in photosynthesis, solar energy is captured by the pigment called dash. So solar energy captured by the pigment. Which pigment? Green color pigment. Chlorophyll. Yes, green color pigment, chlorophyll. So green color pigment found in the leaves which trap sunlight. So this is a chlorophyll. In photosynthesis, solar energy is captured by the pigment called chlorophyll. 4. During photosynthesis, plants take in dash and release dash. Again, remember photosynthesis. So during photosynthesis, plants take in which gas? Carbon dioxide gas from the atmosphere. And after completing the process of photosynthesis, which is the byproduct of photosynthesis? Yes, oxygen. So during photosynthesis, plants take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen. Now question 7 is name the following. First is a parasitic plant with yellow, slender and tubular stem. Remember, this plant is parasitic with yellow, slender and tubular form. It means it does not have chlorophyll. It is in yellow color. So this is the Cuscuta. Parasitic plant with yellow, slender and tubular stem is Cuscuta. Second, a plant that has both autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Plants that has both types of mode of nutrition, autotrophic and heterotrophic. It means that sometimes they prepare food for by themselves also, and sometimes they depend for their food on others also. So this type of plant is a insectivorous plant. It eats insect. So plant that has both autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition is insectivorous plants. Third, the process through which leaves exchange gases. Now in fill in the blanks only I told you. The pores through which leaves exchange gases. Exchange which gas? It means they take in carbon dioxide and after completing the process of photosynthesis they release oxygen in its atmosphere. It means that exchange of gases. So which pores do that? So in leaves small pores are there which is called stomata. So this stomata exchange the gases. It means that small pores present in leaves are stomata. So the pores through which leaves exchange gases is stomata. Now move to the question number 8. Tick the correct answer. Here that for every question 4 options are given. So among these 4 options you have to choose one correct. Amarbel is an example of. Amarbel is an example of our options are autotroph, parasite, saprotroph or host. Amarbel, it means that Cuscuta or other name of Amarbel is. So it depends on other. It means it is a parasite. So Amarbel is an example of parasite. Correct answer is parasite. Second, the plant which traps and feeds on insect is. It means that insect eating plants. So which is the example of insect eating plants? That also I explained you. Here also 4 options are given: Cuscuta, China rose, pitcher plant and rose. So your correct answer is pitcher plant. The plant which traps and feeds on insect is pitcher plant. Question number 9. Match the items given in column 1 with those in column 2. See, column 1 is given chlorophyll, nitrogen, amoeba, animals, insect, and here in column 2 bacteria, heterotrophs, pitcher plant, leaf and parasites. So first chlorophyll. So chlorophyll present in leaf. So you will join chlorophyll with leaf. Second nitrogen. Now nitrogen. So atmospheric nitrogen. See that some bacteria, rhizobium, about rhizobium bacteria I told you. So you will join nitrogen with bacteria. Next is amoeba. Amoeba is a parasitic plant. So you will join amoeba with a parasite. Then animal. You know that animals depend on others for their food. So they are heterotrophs. So you will join animals with heterotrophs. Then insect eating plants. So pitcher plants. So you join insect with pitcher plant. Now question number 10. Mark T if the statement is true and F if it is false. So first, carbon dioxide is released during photosynthesis. If you know that equation of photosynthesis by using carbon dioxide and water, and its products of the photosynthesis, glucose and oxygen. So carbon dioxide is released during photosynthesis? No. This statement is false and correct is oxygen is released during photosynthesis. Second, plants which synthesize their food themselves are called saprotrophs. This statement also false because plants which synthesize their food themselves are called autotrophs. Number 3. The product of photosynthesis is not a protein. Now this statement is also a true because the product of photosynthesis, yes, is not a protein only, it is a starch. Now 4. Solar energy is converted into chemical energy during photosynthesis. That is also true because by using solar energy, plant perform the process of photosynthesis. It means it converted into chemical energy only. So this statement is true. Now question number 11. Choose the correct option from the following. Which part of the plant takes in carbon dioxide from the air for photosynthesis? Takes in carbon dioxide. Which part of the leaf takes in carbon dioxide? So here again 4 options are given: root hair, stomata, leaf veins and sepals. So your correct option is stomata. Question number 12. Choose the correct option from the following. Plants take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere mainly through their root, stem, flowers and leaves. So take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through their leaves because in leaves only stomata is present. So your correct answer is leaves. So students, here we end up the textual exercise. Now you don't have to write textual exercise from this video. After this video I will send you PDF of the textual exercise of chapter 1 nutrition in plant. From this PDF you will write textual exercise in your CW. We'll meet you soon.